Welcome everyone to today's session, Partnership in Business with Afam Sadiku, the CRM manager of Barclays. Afam, you can take the stage.
Excellent, excellent. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, guys. As you can see, my computer's it's decided to die, so I've called in through my mobile phone instead. So my name's Afam. Afam Sadiku. I'm the CRM manager at Barclays, and today we came to talk to you about personal strategies versus team culture. So just as a quick introduction to myself, as mentioned, my name is Afam Sadiku. I'm a CRM manager and also entrepreneur. So CRM manager at Barclays. I guess in terms of my background, I've been at Barclays now for nearly 10 years. It'll be 10 years in April. I joined Barclays back in 2012 as an apprentice and kind of raised through the ranks, shall we say. So I've had experience working in frontline, customer service, relationship management, analytics, through to channel development, leadership, and now into CRM. I've worked across the UK. As you can tell, my accent is a little bit different to most people. So I spent the majority of my time living in Liverpool, spent some time out in Glasgow, and now I'm living in Canary Wharf in London. In terms of the entrepreneurial side of things, I have a company called Sadiku Estates Limited. It is a real estate company, so we have a number of properties in the north of England. I'm also a director of a charity called Love and Joy Ministries Limited, and I'm also the founder and CEO, shall we call it, of a company called MyPT Mobile, which is a marketplace for personal training. And I'll now hand over to Taiwo for a quick introduction.
Oh, hi guys. So I am a propositions manager at Barclays. I came in through the grad scheme. From academic background, I am a mathematics graduate. I studied at the University of Manchester doing mathematics with financial mathematics. I then went on to work in wealth management, where I looked after our investor relationship marketing. Also looked after multi-asset portfolio. After that, I wanted to move away from a small boutique wealth management firm and work into a large corporate. I then went on to work at Barclays, where I am now, on the grad scheme, working with businesses, helping them supporting their growth, supporting their ambitions, and meeting their needs. I moved across in 4 different rotations. So I worked in business management. I took a rotation in mortgages, worked in product management, and looked at the lending book. And now I am a AVP customer strategy propositions manager, where I look after our social business proposition, I look after our customer strategy proposition, and I also look at the high value proposition as well. Looking at new ways to meet our customers' needs and add value to the customer at the same time. But yeah, I climbed through the ranks as a fan, and as you can tell, my accent isn't the same as everyone else in London. I did move to Canary Wharf as well, but I'm originally from Birmingham.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, Taiwo. So we're going to give a wave to the audience. So as we continue throughout today's session, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. That could be personal questions, that could be business questions, that could be questions about Barclays. We'll be happy to help. But what I'm going to actually do, so as mentioned, today's session is to cover personal strategies versus team culture. And one of the things that we want to look into is the differences between the two, how they can both work positively together, how they can potentially work negatively together. And also at the same time, what me and Tao basically want to do is we want to talk about our own examples in terms of team culture versus personal strategy. So I'll now hand over to Tao, who's going to give you a quick overview on his definition of team culture. And over to yourself.
So as I said, I've worked in different teams across Barclays. I've also had experience working in wealth management. And to me, what team culture is the way in which people work together. You know, everyone has their own personal strategies, their own personal ambitions. But when you're working for a business or working for an organization, you tend to have a common goal. And your team culture is the way in which you achieve that common goal. So, you know, the productivity levels, how happy you are, how satisfied you feel after each day of work or each day of working together. And that's what my definition of team culture is. Now, the problem with team culture is that it can be good and it also can be toxic. And by a good team culture is an environment where you're able to be productive and you're able to achieve these common goals in a way that's healthy for improvement and for delivery. Now, a toxic team culture is probably a culture where, you know, there's secret competitions, people are hating on you. It's not violent, it's not fun, it's just more, it's not healthy. And I think there's ways in which we can build our own team culture we play a part in team culture, and there's a way that we can demystify any bad elements of culture within the team. So within Barclays, it's really easy to have a good team culture. We have everything set. We have our values. We have rises, which is respect, integrity, services, stewardship, and excellence. And we try and illustrate these values in everything that we do within our day to day. Now, I think when you're starting a new business or starting a new venture, sometimes in the past when I've worked together with some of my colleagues or with my friends, we haven't established the team culture. And what we tend to do is to look at, we're all friends, we're all the community here. We can work together. But I think outlining the principles that you hope to achieve as you work together will help build a culture that you can align to. Because when things get challenging, people then tend to break their principles in a sense, and it causes a little bit of friction. So having those principles in place really does help business move forward as you guys work together as a team. And I think another myth about team culture is that it has to be quirky, it has to be fun. I think the main thing about team culture is an environment where you can move forward together. Having pool tables or non-uniform days is not the best team culture if you're not happy at the end of the day. I think anything that can help you move forward as an organization is really good team culture. Now I'm going to pass it on to Afam, who's going to talk a little bit more about personal strategies and how we as individuals can work on our personal strategies and use them to achieve our goals.
That's perfect. Thank you, Tyler. So yeah, as Tyler mentioned, I want to talk to you today about personal strategies from both a working perspective and also from a business perspective. I'd like to think I have quite a long, maybe 10, 15 years of experience, at least in entrepreneurial, and about 10 years in from a working perspective. So when thinking about personal strategies from a working perspective, what I'm really thinking about is how I can potentially navigate through this organization or my end potential goal. So my end potential goal could be, I want to reach this specific corporate level, or I want to work in this specific industry, or I want to be recognized by my peers on this specific level. It may change, it may be wherever you want it to be. But when I'm thinking about personal strategies, I'm really thinking about how can I set specific goals? So how can I set small milestones that's going to help me achieve my overall goal or my overall vision? And the reasons why I like to say vision over goal is because one of the things that you'll find, and I'm sure most of the people on the call today will agree, is once you get closer to your initial goal or your vision, you kind of set it back a little bit further. So for example, from my own experience, back when I was, I joined a bank when I was 17 years old, my initial vision was to become a team leader, right? But as I got closer to becoming a team leader, I was like, okay, this is possible. Let me push this back a little bit more further. How can I how can I make bigger decisions for the organization? Again, let me push that back a little bit more further. How can I support more colleagues within the organization? And that's why I like to use the term vision over, in particular, goal. Now, from my own experience in thinking about the personal strategy, as mentioned, I joined the bank when I was an apprentice, joined the bank when I was 17 years old. And one of the things that I initially wanted to do is I wanted to be able to complete my initial apprenticeship, but complete it to the best possible standard that there ever could be, right? So let me think about some of the potential smaller goals and the overall vision that I had, right? So in terms of those smaller goals, how can I network with various people around me, right? How can I perceive myself to be more of a adult? As mentioned, I'm a 17-year-old boy. I've just left school. So how can I present myself more of a professional, more of an adult, so more people will take me more seriously, right? Then, once I've been able to get closer to this end goal of meeting my apprenticeship, I've said to myself, okay, cool. I've now met my goal of completing my apprenticeship. I've now serviced X amount of customers. I've now become a potential relationship manager with my own portfolio of clients. But the next thing for me is I want to be able to think about, okay, how can I help support more people? How can I manage a team and support more people in helping them achieve their goals? And as you can appreciate, how many times you apply for a job in any organization and you go for that job and they say, sorry, we can't have you. You don't have enough experience. And your question is, well, how can I get that experience if nobody's going to give me the opportunity to actually get a job, right? So that's when I began to think a little bit more differently. I'd applied to various different positions within the organization, and I thought about doing various different skills, but I thought to myself, I've already done 12, 18 months of one program. I don't need to do anything else, right? But again, back when I lived in Liverpool, one of the things I had realized is that, okay, I'm very good at my role, but I want to move on to that next level. But I can't move on to that next level because I don't have the experience. So I thought about, okay, I've finished my apprenticeship program. I've done very well in my apprenticeship program. Now, one of the things I understand is that there are some new people on an apprenticeship program that's coming through the organization. Now, I may not get paid for this, but one of the things I'm able to do to build my own competencies in becoming a leader, and also give more support to the business and more support to those younger apprentices, is let me support them as a mentor, right? Let me teach from my own experiences. Let me kind of guide them around the program. Let me help them liaise with the leadership teams. Let me help them liaise with the managers. Let me help them liaise with their talent acquisitions coaches to help them get a better experience within the organization. And guess what? After about 12 months of doing good work with these the apprentices in the organization, I firstly won an award for this kind of things. Pat on the back for me, I'm very proud of that. But that ultimately, what that allowed me to do is think differently, right? Think about some of the key things that I may be missing in terms of being a leader. Think about some of the key experiences that I've gained as becoming a leader, which helped me actually apply for the next program, right? So as mentioned, I started as a foundation apprentice, which is similar to like a GCSE program. I was then able to move on to do what we call a higher apprenticeship program. Now, a higher apprenticeship program, it's not even more around, it is actually a degree, right? And my degree was specific to leadership and management. And the reasons why I chose leadership and management is because, again, I've had those experiences of working with those apprentices with the organization. But what I want to really be able to do, I really want to be able to explore my mind. I want to be able to understand more about becoming a transformational leader. And overall, I want to be able to make bigger decisions for the organizations to lead them into the future, right? That was my own personal strategy. Again, as time advances, as time goes on, that changes. Now, when thinking about it from a business perspective, I'm conscious that I spent the best part of 5 minutes trying to get into the course. I'll cut it short. But I guess in terms from a business perspective, right? From a business perspective, your personal strategy could be, I want to have X amount of employees. I want to make £1 million. I want to have the biggest company the world's ever seen. That could be your personal strategy, right? But then when you sit back and you think about what are the goals that is going to allow me to get to my vision, right? So I'm going to go into a little bit more shortly, but I'm going to talk to you guys. I'll head over to Taiwo in a minute, but I'm going to talk to you guys in a little bit more detail from my own perspective in terms of running business as a 16-year-old in comparison to running business as a 27-year-old. And from my working experience at Barclays, working with different people, understanding more about different people, understanding more about the team, and understanding more about myself, how they're able to contribute and build a better business for myself, employees, and other people around me. So I'll hand back over to yourself there, Taiwo, just to talk about your own experiences there in terms of team culture.
So yeah, with team culture, as I said before, luckily enough, I work for Barclays with Afam, and there's an amazing team culture. But at the same time, you have your own personal strategies, you have your own goals and ambitions that you have to achieve. So when I first joined the bank, I really wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to take some ownership. I wanted to deliver a project on my own. Unfortunately, things don't work that way, and if they do work that way, you have to exhaust a huge amount of energy. I took on a project looking at our customers in vulnerable circumstances, looking at how business owners who have vulnerabilities run businesses and how they interchange with the bank and the products and services that they use on a regular basis, how they access them. And now it would have made more sense for me at the time to use the network I had, engage with the stakeholders that I knew. But instead, I wanted to do all the research on my own. I took my own, I made my own focus group. I looked at my own customer research. I read through verbatim. And it just made things really, really difficult. It made me do a lot more work that needed to be done. After 4 months of solely working on this project, I managed to deliver a change in colleague education and colleague development, which ran through to our kit page and our colleague forum and whatnot. And when I look back at that, I used so much energy. I was working late nights. I was doing things I wasn't meant to be doing, in a sense where I could do somewhere else. Look forward now as an AVP 3 years later. I've recently launched a social business proposition where we're looking at how we can help social businesses, larger charities, social enterprises, clubs, associations to get better value from their banking services. And to do this, I took a completely different approach. Collaboration was key. It was the main difference between how I worked before and how I work now. And the use of collaboration, use of understanding the team culture, the people around me, trying to build a common goal, influencing stakeholders, encouraging the right people. I was able to push through a brand new website that you guys can check out and leave some feedback if you like on the Barclays business page. I was able to push through a mentorship program. I was able to push through a new lending criteria for our social businesses. And I think just understanding a different landscape to work, understanding that you have your own personal ambitions, but it's useful to use the team around you to achieve those goals. Really made a big difference, and that's the difference between trying to work on your own personal strategies and then work within the team culture. I'll just pass over to Afam to give his account of his stories.
Cool. Thank you, Tao. So as mentioned, Tao was giving you a work example. I guess there's going to be a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs on the call today too. So what I'd like to do is give my own personal example of my initial stages of being an entrepreneur, and then further down the line in terms of being more of an established entrepreneur. So my first kind of understanding of being, or my first experience of being an entrepreneur was way back when I was in maybe like year 8 or year 9 of academic school. My entrepreneur was about selling crisp and selling chocolate in the school. My parents used to give me some dinner money. They'll probably listen to the call. They'll tell me off for this one. But I used to save that money and then go to Sainsbury's, go to Iceland, buy Lucozade, buy drinks, and sell them in the school. And I then got into the process about, okay, what I can do is I can have a product to meet the needs of the customer, my students, my peers in school. As I've grown knowledge in terms of, buying and selling different things, I went from sweets and drinks to various different things. I guess my biggest kind of milestone, shall we say, was when I was in sixth form. So when I was in sixth form, I was studying business studies. And with my business studies, one of the things that we had to do is build a hypothetical business. So I decided to build a business for snapbacks. For those that don't know who snapbacks are, it's the closest thing to a baseball cap, right? Now, with that baseball cap, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to cut the cost. So for me, it was about 25 to 35 pounds to buy, but I could find a cheap supplier, right? And with that cheap supplier, that enabled me to sell them for 15 pounds. So with the first bulk load of 10 caps I bought, I put them on eBay, I put them on Amazon. Within 8 hours of me putting them on, they'd sold. I kept on doing, I kept on flipping it, right? I got into the mindset of, okay, I can do this by myself. I'm actually making, for a 16-year-old, I'm making quite a bit of money by myself, right? And as time has gone on, I then decided to build a website. My website was called 501young.com. You won't be able to find it no more, and I'll tell you the reasons why. So when I built that website, I was the designer of the website. I was the supplier. I would go out to do the supplying. I would be the person responsible of payment gateway. I'll be the person responsible for the security of the website. I'll be the person responsible for the finances of the website. I'll be the person responsible for the delivery of the website. And for me, it was all about this business this is my baby, so this is very, very close to me. I can't let anybody else touch this, right? 16 years old. Come 17, I then joined Barclays as an apprentice. And what I was then juggling was, number 1, my business, number 2, my academic studies, and number 3, my actual job at Barclays. And it all got a little bit too much. So at that point, I couldn't no longer handle the orders coming through. I couldn't update the website as I wanted to. I couldn't do the deliveries as I wanted to. I couldn't manage the finance as I wanted to. So at that point, what I decided to do is I decided to sell off that website, completely get rid, sell it off, and concentrate on my full-time job. And the kind of downfall that I've seen from that was I was just so passionate about this business. I said, nobody else can edit this business. Nobody else can be a partner. Nobody else can do anything apart from me, right? Which ultimately led to the destruction of the website. Shall we say destruction? It led to me having to get rid of my baby, shall we say. Then moving on to an older guy, I'm now 27 years old. What I've been able to understand from my experience working within Barclays as an organization is I work as part of a project team. And as working part of that project team, one thing that I understand is I may have very good knowledge when it comes to creativity, but I don't have a clue about the controls or about the risks involved or about the compliance issues that we may face or in terms of the marketing or for a specific customer demographic. So one of the things I've learned by working for Barclays is that we need to work as part of a team in order for me to build, number 1, a fast product, and also number 2, a very good quality product. With bearing that in mind, what I've now been able to do when building my own business, you guys will see it soon. Check it out. It's called My PT Mobile. It'll be launched in about 2 months from now. This is a mobile application / website, which is to invite personal trainers to find clients, and they can book sessions directly with their clients. Now, again, let's say, for example, if I was in that previous mentality that this business is all about me, nobody else can touch this business, I would be working on this for the last 5 years right now. And by the time I come to launch this website, it's probably all 15 people have already done it, right? But one of the great things that I've been able to do and learn from my previous experience as an entrepreneur, and also from working in a kind of corporate organization, is that I need various different people to help me build this website. Yes, I may be the creative mind behind the website. I could be very passionate in terms of talking to people about my website. But one of the things I know is that I need a user interface designer. I use a user experience designer. I need somebody that can help me with customer insights, somebody that can help me with market research, somebody that can help me with copywriting, somebody that can help me with business design, somebody that can help me with security software. All of these various different things is what I need. And what I've been able to actually find by working with various different people, yes, it may cost in the short term, but in the long term, as mentioned, what I'm able to do is build a stronger business, a more quality business, and I'm also able to use what we call customer-led thinking. And by customer-led thinking, what I mean by that is I could say that this website is the best website, and it's going to meet the needs of a personal trainer, meet the needs of the client, and meet the needs of every single person in the fitness industry. But when we think about customer-led thinking, that is me putting myself in the customer's shoes, right? I'm able to understand the needs of that customer and adapt and change and continue to change my needs based on that customer. When you think of previous companies like Blockbuster, right? So everybody loved Blockbuster when it was about 10 years old, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years old, right? But everybody knows that common story. How many times did a company like Netflix say, times are going to change? And what we want to do is we want to partner with you guys. We want to help you build now a digital-based business. Back then they said, no, we're good. We're a multi-billion-pound company. We're good as we are, which ultimately led to their destruction. They had to sell themselves off in comparison to their partners. You see various different people working with various different other people to build better businesses. Again, I'll pause at this point. I'm very conscious of the time, and I do apologize, guys, that my computer unfortunately wasn't working earlier today. But I'll open up for any further questions that that you guys may have. That could be business-related questions, work-related, Barclays-related, or just general-related questions in terms of being a Black person working in a corporate organization or a Black person trying to run a business. And I can't see the Q&A, so if you could.
So yeah, I'll ask this one to you. I'll direct this one to you. So someone had asked, upscaling your passion project is hard. Of all the roles that you mentioned, so you mentioned, UX, you mentioned business design. What is the very first position a small business owner should focus on filling?
Okay, so and please again, listen, right? The first thing that you should be thinking about as a business owner is how you can change a specific problem. Actually, he said this earlier on today, is all about how you can change a specific problem. Yes, in terms of business, you want to become the next billionaire, we want to be the next Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, whoever it may be. But when you're thinking about a business, you need to be thinking about what is this current problem and what can I build to make this problem to mitigate this problem moving onwards. So in terms of my problem, right? Me, I go gym. I've been going gym for the last 5 years, 2 hours a day, every single day, right? And how many people will come to me and say, "Oh, Afam, are you a personal trainer? Can you train me?" I'm not too interested in personal trainer. I do this for myself, right? But how many people will come to me and say, "Are you a personal trainer?" In terms of Facebook, in terms of Instagram, Snapchat, all of these social media platforms, how many friends and family do you actually find going to various different websites and saying, "Does anybody have a personal trainer that can help me?" Right? From a personal trainer's point of view, they spend countless hours every single day. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, trying to promote themselves, right? Me, as an individual person that's working in now technology, I can see a problem. And the problem that I can see is that personal trainers are struggling to find clients. Clients are struggling to find personal trainers. So how can I build a platform that it can connect the two? And it's not just about connecting the two, it's how can I make their lives a lot easier? So how can I make a payment gateway? The reasons why I say payment gateway, this could be Apple Pay or card payment. The reasons why I say things like this is because at the present moment in time, we're dealing with cash. So if I'm a personal trainer, I can take your cash, I can run away. What can you do? You can't do anything, right? So I can build a payment gateway. Again, I'm a personal trainer. I want to go over to a client. A client wants to come to me and say, "When's your next availability?" Again, you're going to have to go through your diary and tick off this, tick off that. How can I build an integrated booking system for that individual? And I guess the most important part is when somebody asks you for a recommendation, that could be for a plumber, a personal trainer, a hairstylist, wherever it may be, you just tend to tell the person, oh, this person can do for you. This person can do for you based on your own experiences because you've been there before. One of the things that I really wanted to do, one of the things that companies like Amazon, Airbnb, Uber, the one sole thing that these people have mastered is being able to use customer voice. So when I'm thinking about customer voice, I could say this person is a great personal trainer, and a personal trainer can come to me and say, yeah, I'm the world's best personal trainer. But one thing that I want to be able to do is I want to be able to look at your specialisms, number one, and I want to be able to look at what other people think of your specialisms, number two. So this is kind of a long-winded answer, but the point I'm trying to get to is the first thing that you should be thinking about as an entrepreneur, the first thing that you should be thinking about as a business owner is not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's about this is the problem that I'm facing at the present moment in time, and how can I build something to make somebody else's life a lot easier. Thinking 5 years ago, thinking 10 years ago, how many times you go on a night out, you go for a couple of drinks, for those that do drink, and you sit outside waiting for a taxi. It takes too long. Why is it not easy enough for me to go to an app, order a taxi, know when it's outside, and I don't even need to talk to them, right? As soon as I get out the taxi, it's been paid for. Uber, so easy. This is a common problem that we see that some people may think, oh, it's not that much of a big deal. But if I can change that, you can then build a great business for people, not for yourself. I'll pause.
I guess the next question, and I'll let you lead with this one, and I'll go in after. After identifying the toxic team, so a team that is just not doing it for you, bad vibes or whatever, what should you do? What are your next steps?
Cool.
I'll let you go first.
Cool. So it's a difficult question, and I guess it's definitely, for me anyway, I won't talk for too long, but I guess this is definitely subjective. For me, if I'm involved in a toxic team, the first thing that I'm going to try to do is, as much as they say leave your personal problems at the front door, you can't help but bring it into the working environment, right? But when you're in these toxic environments, the first thing that you need to be able to do is you need to be able to speak it out, right? You need to be able to be brave and to be confident enough to say, this is my problem, right? And nobody wants to be a snitch. But if your problem cannot be dealt with, all you can basically say is that I've looked at every single potential avenue to fix this issue, and this issue is still not being fixed. So what I now need to do is I need to escalate this to somebody at the next level. Somebody that may be able to look at it as an intermediary and be able to help me in that potential position that I'm in. Again, I can talk for 15 days if I wanted to about so many different subjects, but I won't. Tao, I'll let you give your own opinion.
So I think you're right. I think you have to be brave and speak up. But one of the things you need to do is look inwards and think about what element of the team is toxic. Is it a colleague? Is it the way that you handle work? Is it the way that they give recognition? And then you need to probably think of a solution. Now, if there's nothing that you can do, then it needs to go to escalation. It needs to go to someone where they can, step in and be that intermediary. But if there's no one in place to do that, if the toxic person is your boss, there's not much you can do from there. So what you probably need to do is look at how this can impact your career over the long term, how this doesn't collide with you, align with your personal strategies, and then think about another opportunity that you can take. The thing about being in a toxic team is it just impacts your productivity. It makes you feel down. It makes you feel upset. It doesn't make you the star that you can be, so to speak. So you have to think about, is this situation impacting my career? And if it is, can I fix it? If you can't fix it, you have to do a respectful thing for yourself and leave.
Yes.
And another thing, I think probably, I don't know how many questions we can ask, how many questions we can answer, but another question we have is, how supportive is Barclays of your entrepreneurial endeavors outside of your day job? And how have you managed to perceive conflicts of interest?
Cool.
So, go ahead.
Good question. It's a very good question. I would say one thing about me is I've been very, very open and honest with Barclays, right? The thing that actually got me working for Barclays was through my older sister. But the main thing that the main thing that made me the main thing that made me attractive to Barclays was the mindset that I had, right? So Barclays knew full well about the business that I was running before I joined the organization. And I said to Barclays, when somebody asks me what your goal is and what your dream is, I say, when I close my eyes at night, the only thing I can think of is how I can be the most successful businessman, right? I may not say it's going to be colleagues of Barclays on the phone, they don't mind. I'm not trying to become CEO of Barclays. If I get there, then it's great. But for me, my main passion is to become an entrepreneur. And I use that mindset in every single thing that I do, right? And the reasons why I say I use that mindset in every single thing that I do, for the longest time I was thinking about, how can I become this position, or how can I get to this position? I will get to that position and I'll find out that is not the right thing for me, or I want to be able to achieve something different. And of recent, when I became more focused on the business that I want to be able to work on at the present moment in time, I've now started to think, how can I move into specific positions where I lack skills that is going to help me benefit my my business? So, for example, at the present moment in time, I'm a CRM manager, so I work on the integration of marketing tools into the organization. But one of the things I really want to be able to understand and work more with is the end-to-end kind of product lifecycle, or the end-to-end experience of having a business problem, building something, integrating, optimization, adoption, all of those kind of things. So in Barclays at the present moment in time, the most adaptable role to that would be digital product management. So for a long time, I've been looking for roles in digital product management, and I expressed very clearly to recruiters or line managers that the reasons why I want to move into digital product management is because I have a personal and a professional interest. In terms of my professional interest, I will give it 110% in terms of what I do in this specific role. But my end goal is to be able to benefit and build better things for my business. And for me, that is my passion. I would lie to you and say that everybody adopts it. I know for a fact, I've walked out of an interview back in 2018, I believe it was, and they told me they can't offer me the role simply because I'm too focused on doing my own thing. They think I'm going to build my business, I'm going to run off. That is fine, right? I could get experience in this role and go to KPMG as an example if I wanted to, right? The main thing for me is about being open with my organization about what I want to achieve. And one thing that you'll find is that once you're open with your organization, you will find like-minded people, and you will find people that will open doors, because some people, not even some people, a lot of people want to see you be successful. For example, right? I wouldn't be able to be on this conversation. I wouldn't be invited to this conversation today if I wasn't open and honest about the things I've done, and open and honest about the things that I want to achieve. So what you'll find is that being yourself, being open, being honest, it will lead you onto a better path. It may take a while, it may not, but yeah, it will help.
I'll leave it. Lindsay on the call. Just wondering about time.
Maybe so. I tell you what, do you want to do one more and then we close?
Oh, that's great. Question. Okay, this one's about your app actually. So does your app have the facilities to review and rate PTs and filter PTs based on specific specializations?
Good.
Disabilities, Muslims, females, and whatnot. Maybe chest, back, thighs.
So first of all, this is a very good question, right? And I'm gonna, as always, right? I'm gonna answer this question in a very long way. So first of all, to answer your question, yes, right? When you mentioned about categorization by ethnicity or categorization by gender, those kind of things, at this present moment in time, I have not. And the reasons why I have not is because I'm building what we call MVP. So MVP is minimum value proposition, I think it stands for. And basically when I say MVP, what you basically build is you just build something that will meet the needs of the customer at that present moment in time. And then as time goes on, you begin to develop it more, so you can then introduce personal trainers specific for Muslim women, or personal training specific for Black men, as an example. At the present moment in time, in terms of the specialisms that I have available, that is in terms of bodybuilding, yoga, fat loss, bikini body, and there's another one, general health, right? This general health. So they are when I've looked in terms of doing my own research, they are the top 5 kind of things that people look for in fitness. But as I begin to recruit more personal trainers onto the application, as I begin to get more clients onto the application, I can then start to say, okay, let's branch out in terms of our specialism. And sorry to go on for so long. The last thing that I want to be able to say is, when it comes to business, right? Everybody is afraid of talking about their business. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody about the business I'm trying to build. And the reasons why I say that is because a lot of people are too afraid that somebody else is going to steal their idea. But one thing that you'll actually find is that, literally just based on this conversation alone, let's say, for example, I'd never thought about how can I have a category for having women? How can I have a category for having Muslim? Maybe I've never thought about those kind of things before. But by having a conversation with open, like-minded people, I've now been able to say, okay, this is actually potential. right? So be very careful. First of all, don't go out saying, "Oh, everyone become a partner of my new business. It's going to be great," right? Be very careful of the people that you socialize things with, but also at the same time, be very open to have conversation with like-minded people. Why? Because they're for free, right? For free. What they are going to do is they're going to give you some hints and tips to build a better business for yourself. You never know, they could be your partner.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up. But yeah, thanks for your time and everyone that's viewing. I think we can just close off the call. We'll probably overrun our time. But yeah, thanks everyone.
See you guys. Have a nice day.